Guys, we're going to run through the Dataedo 10.4 and update everyone on what we're adding to the tool and also give a little bit of a peek under the hood. I'm Chase Summers. I'm the Director of Customer Operations here at Dataedo, and alongside of me, many of you know, is the CEO and founder, Piotr Kanadov.
Hello.
So we'll kick things off and give you guys a look at what we'll be going through here today with the agenda. So we'll start off with what's new in 10.4. So many of you may have already updated, but it'll still be a good refresher to show you what we have now. And then we'll go into next releases and what's under development. We'll finish up with what you need. So what you need to take advantage of 10.4 to the fullest. Then we'll wrap up, as always, with a Q&A. You have the questions tab, so you can throw questions in as we go throughout here. And then we'll answer those at the end. But feel free to drop them in the questions tab whenever they pop in your head. From here, I'll hand it over to Piotr, and he'll take us into 10.4.
Okay, thanks, Chase. Yeah, let's have a look what we released just before Christmas, Dataedo 10.4. Okay, so let's have a look at what we have shipped in this release. We've done quite a lot of new functionalities, and let's have an overview of those. So the first big new functionality is reference data management. This functionality allows you to document your so-called reference data, which have different names. You can call them lookups, codes, lists of values, dictionaries, and so on. Basically, till now you were documenting, listing, and documenting your columns in a table, and right now you have an ability to document specific values. Things like currency, country, industry, unit of measure, document status, and so on. So there are a lot of things. There are a lot of types of columns that hold this kind of information that is really valuable to understand what are they actually those allowed values and what's their purpose, what's their meaning. Over here you can see that we have a list of values broken down by the status. So Dataedo allows you to connect to your databases and import this data from columns, scanning different columns, and all the values that were found are put as in for review. As you can see in the middle, you can then reject those values. You can even provide proper mapping, proper value, proper label it should have, or just leave it. If it's just noise, or approve it and then it goes into values. You can also add those values manually and provide a description and additional values in custom fields. Yeah, this is like a natural next step after building data dictionary relationships and all the features we already had in Dataedo. We'll be having a separate webinar about that. Still in January. You'll get a notification with email, so I'll go into details how this works right now, just giving a quick overview. Yeah, this screen shows how that you can link multiple columns to one lookup and import all the distinct values from all those columns. This is one of the sample databases I work with, and I did it for country column. That's really useful because country can have a lot of different formats, USA or United States, for instance, and see how many columns, occurrences of that column I found in my database. So I believe you will have many cases like that you have a lot of instances of specific reference data, specific lookup in your database. Moving on, the next big functionality is a report catalog, and we shipped it with the Power BI connector. So report catalog is a catalog of the reports of your report. So if you connect to Power BI, we'll import the reports you have there. You can see we provide a preview, so you can see the live view of the report. We don't import this data into Dataedo. It's just view it. We just log in, like browser shows this, right? So there's no actual data in the Dataedo. It's just preview. Yeah, you can describe this. Report and its purpose, link the report and its specific fields that we also read. We can provide the descriptions or map it to the business glossary terms. That gives you explanation what's being shown on the chart, and also that allows you to find reports that show specific metric or something like sales value or MRR or retention, things like that. You can find where in your BI ecosystem you can find reports that show that particular value. We have a connector for Power BI, and we're working on a connector for Tableau, and it will be adding more connectors in the future. You can also document this manually, just like with any object in Dataedo. You can add those objects manually. Over here you can see the breakdown of the report. So we scan the report and look at the specific pages, visualizations, and fields, right? So you can describe those fields and map them to business glossary. Yeah, and another thing is lineage. So over here you can see lineage in Power BI itself. Power BI builds lineage, as one of the functionalities, but it shows them just very, very high level. What we do, we show you also the reports and data sets in Power BI, and also in future in Tableau, and then we also map them to the databases in the repository, in specific tables in the repository. Right now it's on the object level, and we'll be soon diving in next release. We'll be diving deeper into the column level, and that can be done automatically if we can identify those objects. If we can't, that could be done by you manually. And we'll be expanding the automated lineage in the future. That's what we're working, focusing on identifying all the flows we can. We're working on SQL parsing, we're working on ETL tools, BI tools, and so on. Speaking of parsing and automation of lineage, we were working on parsing of SQL, and in this release, this is the first release where we automate from the actual SQL queries column level lineage for views. Currently, it's just for SQL Server and Azure SQL. In the next release, we'll have that for, I believe, Oracle, MySQL, Snowflake, and couple more. So the way it works is that when you import, you connect to the source and import the tables and views, we scan the SQL, we parse it, and we find those objects, creating an automated column level lineage for that. As I said, next step would be adding more engines, more dialects, and also we will be focusing on stored procedures and other statements, such as update and other statements because stored procedures are more complex. There could be multiple statements and so on. So right now there's just for views. So if you connect your SQL Server or click update with your existing connection, you should get such diagrams automatically for all the views. Another functionality that's a step into data quality, towards data quality, is a convenient extension to creation of manual foreign keys. So in your database have a lot of foreign keys. So these are the columns that point to columns in different tables, and databases allow you to create foreign key constraints and make sure database ensures that the referential integrity is correct. most of the databases and many of those foreign keys in databases don't have foreign key constraints for many reasons, and Dataedo allows you to document that. That was the functionality since almost day one. That's one of the values added we provide to your databases, that you can understand how to join tables. However, till now you had to make sure on your own that this, the manual foreign key you created is correct, and we added this simple button here, test, and when you click that, it runs a few tests. Basically, it runs a few SQL queries, making sure that the column you're pointing to is unique, it doesn't have null values, that all the values in the foreign key exist in the primary key, and so on. And you can see the details. If you click details, you'll see this on the screen here. You will even see columns and values which are incorrect, which is good for debugging what's wrong. But if it's okay, it's green. It says okay. You can save it, and yeah. Your question would be, can you automate that? So the answer is currently not, but we'll be working on that. So you can run those tests in bulk. In the future, there is no specific dates, no plans, but that's the direction we'd like to go to. That's just zoom of what this debugging information looks like. Next, let's move to web catalog. We redesigned the UI, its design. So the first change you may notice is this new navigation menu. So top level menu was moved to the left, and then there's a new left menu. We also rebuilt a little the middle section, moved some things around, and we created this panel here with the community, so it's much easier to access community. It was on a separate tab before. This would be make it more interactive. So yeah, these are the changes. We're still working on a lot of changes in the web, so it will change in the next version even more. We're working on new diagrams, but more on that later. For the desktop, we introduced floating tabs, movable or floating tabs. Right now, we can rearrange those tabs and windows in desktop. And if you have two monitors, that's particularly useful because you can open two objects, for instance, I believe. Yeah, you can make better use of your screen and rearrange things more. That would make it easier for you to work with the desktop. We also created a catalog of your favorite SQL queries. So it's a quite simple but powerful feature. So you probably know you could create your custom manual tables or views. What we did, we went one step ahead and created a log of SQL queries. So this is very similar to view in the repository, as in it has a script and it has columns. So what you can do, again, using SQL parsing that we're working on and introduced in this version, you can paste your SQL query, give it a name. So these are the things you usually have in somewhere in your notepad or something. You're pasting this in using it in database console. Right now you can share it with share it and document it. And if you paste the SQL, we'll create the columns automatically. So you can describe what each column means. And also in next release, we'll create lineage automatically. Right now it's not created automatically, but it will be similar to views. So what it would mean, you'll see it would be easier for you to understand the query. So you'll see the how the data is, where does it come from on column level. And also if you look at tables and views, it will be easier for you to figure out where it's used. So when we were introducing BI and queries, imagine you have a table with automated lineage or manual. You can even document it manually. You will be able to see what SQL queries and what BI reports are using this table. Very useful, especially if they like to update or change this table or drop it for some reason. Then you know what's the impact of that. We created a dashboard in the classification in web to provide you an overview of what are the classifications, how many fields there are in your databases according to the classification you've built with desktop, the classification that was in Dataedo for a long time now. We'll be building more dashboards like this one. More on that later. One of my favorite features, again, quite simple but super powerful. You can now open any object from desktop in web. So when you click on the object in desktop, you can, in many places there's a open in web button in the ribbon or under the right click, and it opens web on that object particular. That makes it working with web and desktop simultaneously much easier. I really like this feature. It's really convenient. You have to do one thing to make it work. You have to, in the web, provide the URL address that it's available under, because web itself is not aware under which address it's available. It could be, depending, in the internet, it could be IP, it could be some domain name or something. So it's very simple. You go into settings, paste the URL, the base URL, and you have to log in desktop again, and it's all set. Really, really powerful. We've been asked by many of you to extend our business glossary linking capabilities to more elements in the catalog. So we have done just that. We have allowed you to link to not just tables and views, but also store procedures and functions. Past year was we were focused on building data lineage and automation of data lineage. So that means finding all the flows we can, and one of the fronts on that is the SQL parsing. Another are BI tools, and the third one is ETL tools. So we have a connector for SSIS. We have a connector for DBT, and right now we have added connector for Azure Data Factory. All of them are in early stages. They create they allow you to document those pipelines, those packages, and create a basic object level lineage. We will be extending all those connectors and building more for the column level and more automation. ETL tools are tricky because they can connect to a large variety of different data sources with different ways of connecting, and they can be complex. So the extent to which we can actually grab and track, identify all the flows, it depends on the amount of effort we've put into. So we have basic connectors for all the three ETL tools, and we'll be working on extending them and adding more connectors in the future. All right, so that was a quick overview of what's in the product. It's not all. There are more minor changes. We've been working for I think almost 6 months on this release, and let's have a look now on the next release. There's no a specific date. Right now it's just spring of this year. So let's have a look at the directions in which we're currently developing the product. The biggest change would be, and I think the most valuable, would be introduction of domains and extension of subject areas in the product. currently subject areas are somewhat limited to one level under the database. We'd like to redesign that completely and rethink, started from scratch. We will introduce a hierarchy that would be completely separate from the data sources. So that will be your databases, your BI tools, ETL tools, that will be your physical world. And the domains will be a separate hierarchy. And also we want to build two separate hierarchies. One would be business domains and the other would be data domains. So business domains, that would be your breakdown of your business. So broken down by business division, then going deeper into specific topics, departments, entities, whatever. So things like logistics and then inventory and then maybe something more specific. That will be like a portal for to your data, and not only data, but for all the business users. So they're thinking in business concepts. That would be the natural way of looking at data and learning about data and all the your business terms and KPIs and metrics and reports and everything. So through this lens, that would reflect how they understand the business. And on those specific levels. So the first level is called domain, the second is subject area, something and there will be 3 to 4 levels. On each level, it will be like a landing page with a collection of all the linked objects. There will be like a description, what that means, and all the broken down by type. So when the business user opens, inventory subject area, they will be able to learn about key terms related to that area, key reports, key lookups, and then key reference data, key tables, all that elements. So that will be very natural for them to learn about data. They will be organized from more business oriented to the technical. The tables will be at the very bottom. So that would be ideally like the structure around which you provide content to your business users. Then the data domains would be a view from the data team perspective. That's the reflection of how your teams, how your infrastructure, projects, how they are organized, right? So you'll be able to arrange it according to how you view data as you as data teams, right? So I don't know, there's a CRM team, for instance, and there are some specific topics, modules, whatever related to that. Then you can arrange data and all the other entities according to that. Data warehouse, data lake, whatever reflects your team, your company, that you can arrange it according to that. We believe that will give way more value for you, and also people who might not be using Dataedo or documentation right now because it's too technical. We believe it has a lot of potential to spread the knowledge across your organizations. So yeah, that's something we're working on currently. Yeah, and the plan is to release it next release. We're working on data lineage, so more, as I mentioned, more parsing, more dialects, more SQL dialects, more engines. Also, we're working on more automation for Snowflake pipelines. There are some SSIS improvements. Yeah, and also I mentioned we're working on Tableau connector. Tableau connector will also include the lineage of to data sources and then databases. We're planning to extend the foreign key tester. I mentioned it was available just for SQL Server. Now we would like to add that to Postgres, Redshift, Oracle, and MySQL as well. That will not include the bulk running of that. Quite unlikely, but you'll be able to do it for more engines. We're adding more custom fields or custom field types. So tag, you'll be able to create one or more tag fields. Date, that was requested quite a few times. Then color, to color code columns, for instance, and role tag for owner, steward. It would be customizable, so you could create more roles, but owner and steward would be the default. Connectors, I mentioned Tableau. We are working SSRS and on Kafka. Kafka is also responsible for moving data from one place to another, so that includes lineage as well. And we are planning, as usual, improve some of the connectors. So Power BI, adding column level lineage and more intelligence for the automation of the lineage. SQL Server, Snowflake, DB2, DBT, and SSIS. Integration with Active Directory to sync roles and groups from Active Directory to their data repository to make administration of that more seamless. Make it easier to provide it for a larger audience. Web catalog. We're doing a lot of work on web catalog. So I showed you new design. We're working on even newer design. So improving that. Notifications. It will be similar to what you've seen on the right side. You'll see like a panel with notifications. We're working on new diagrams, especially lineage. But also ERD and glossary, that they wouldn't change from maybe just slightly visually, but lineage will be redesigned. It would be hopefully more useful, easier to navigate them. And performance. We're aware that some of the pages are loading quite slow. I already seen quite a progress on that. I've seen some our internal versions that work very fast. So next release, I hope there won't be any issues on the performance side. Yeah, and the performance has its own slide because this is what we are currently working on. We know there are some parts that there's some debt we need to pay, the technical debt, and we do it for desktop, web, and also imports separately. So we are redesigning imports, and there's a good chance that they will be running much faster. Hard to tell right now, but I feel we can improve the performance of that quite significantly. Another change is that we're removing the file repository as we're moving to more enterprise solution. We're promoting web. Web will be the crucial element of the solution. We feel that maintaining the file repository doesn't make sense anymore. It's slowing us down because having to support two different connection types limiting for us. So we'll be requesting repository. I have a feeling that you already those who are using actually web and use real capabilities of Dataedo, you're already using SQL repository. In the future, we might extend the repository not just to SQL Server, maybe to Postgres, but that's these are just plans, no specific plans. In this version, we'll just remove the file repository, which was supposed to be used just on trial, on very early stages, and in production, we always recommended the repository. All right, so that was the overview of what was shipped and what is being planned. Now, Chase, over to you.
So here we'll cover licensing. For many of you, you are on the current licensing, so you have access to all, either between Dataedo plan, which is our current, or data catalog, which is legacy. If you are enterprise or earlier, this will be a great way to see what you do have access to, what you may be missing, or even with the data catalog subscription, not having those unlimited viewers. That is something to consider here. So feel free to screenshot this, or let us know if you would like a review of it, and we're happy to discuss what you need to get the features that you need, or any upgrades. We are doing special upgrade prices for legacy customers, so if you do want more functionality with Dataedo, we're not going to charge you the price you see on the website. For legacy customers, we do cut quite the discount. And upgrade your plan. So again, as I mentioned in the last, there are different functionalities that are currently evolving with Dataedo. And if you would like to take advantage of those and the discount that we offer for legacy plan subscribers, those are pretty set and makes it much easier to upgrade than the price you might see on our website. Please contact Jonathan at Dataedo.com, and he'll be your best contact to guide you through that process, show you the new features that you might be missing, and help walk through that process with you. And of course, download and upgrade. So if you do have access to a lot of these features, and even if you don't, there's likely bug fixes or things that can make your life a lot easier when working with Dataedo. So we recommend going ahead and upgrading. And if you have any issues or need help with that, we do have a support team that will meet with you and walk you through the upgrade without any cost. So that's just a service that we offer you. So if you need that, let us know. We'll have contact information here towards the end. We are starting a new initiative, which we call the metadata extraction support. So this is for customers who maybe you don't have, we don't have the data source that you're looking to work with out of the box. We do have a team that is willing to meet with you and see how we can ingest that on a one-off basis. So maybe we don't have a native connector, but we can help you get that metadata into Dataedo. And for this, customers reach out to Alex at Dataedo.com. New customers or people who are exploring the tool, you have access to this free of charge as well, and you can contact Patrick at Dataedo.com for that. And as always, don't hesitate to contact us. So whether it is support issues, whether it is questions about licensing, or just wanting advice on how to work with Dataedo or what's coming, feel free to reach out here. So customers, Jonathan at Dataedo, and new customers who don't have that designated contact, feel free to reach out to support at Dataedo.com. Upcoming webinars. So we will be doing webinars likely towards the end of January and early February for data lineage, reference data, Power BI, and we will be throwing in a few other training webinars. So keep an eye out for those. We'll be updating you as we get set dates for that. And Q&A. So I've seen a couple of questions come in here, so we'll recap a little bit. Piotr, Paul asked if it is Power BI on-prem or service, and I let him know that it is service. Any plans to support the Power BI on-prem?
Yes. I think that's one of the things we're working on right now.
Okay, awesome. And then Paul also asked if there's a timeline for AD group integration.
Yes. So we had it actually for the scope for this release, but we had to cut it for the reasons we couldn't fit it into that release. Time was running out, and so the next release, it was on the slide. So yeah, spring.
Spring, sometime in the spring. Krista said it looks like the new hierarchy will allow for describing an object more than once in as many hierarchies as desired. Will this be allowed in the business glossary as well?
Okay, so this is not describing objects multiple times. This is just linking. So those there are two hierarchies, as I mentioned, business hierarchy and data. Each of those levels have their own descriptions, right? So the description exists there, but all the linked objects, then that includes business glossary, will be able to link to multiple places in both hierarchies, and the descriptions are not duplicated. They're just the same object but linked. And I think the question also relates to business glossary.
Yes. So being able to describe an object more than once in the business glossary.
I'm not sure what's the intent. Would you like, so a business glossary is another hierarchy, if you can think of it like that. And to business glossary terms, you can link multiple objects as well, right? So business terms also have links. I see you're typing, so let's see.
A metric is relevant to two different glossary hierarchies.
Okay, so I see. It's not possible to put the same term. You can duplicate terms, right? You can create, but it's not a good practice to create like a copy. However, those business domains and subject areas could be like a replication of the glossary in a way. So it's not, in all those levels you can link those terms. I'm not sure if that would work for you. If you use those hierarchies, you can link the same term in multiple places. If you'd like to have it in the glossary as it is right now, it's not possible to link the same term. That's an interesting case. We've heard similar things in the past, but I don't think we had that case. It would be interesting to be able just to link the term in the glossary. Interesting feedback. It's not. It didn't occur to us.
Oh yeah. Chris, screenshots would be super helpful.
Yes. Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting idea just to be able to link a term in the glossary without duplicating it. Yeah. Never thought of that.
Roberto also threw in a question: would it be possible to generate automatic table data lineage starting from stored procedure code? So basically link a stored procedure to all the data tables used.
Yes,
I believe that is on the roadmap, right?
It's it's on the not on the roadmap. It's something we're working on. So being able to parse stored procedures, it's not like binary thing because it's not all or nothing. Stored procedures can have a lot of different types of statements codes in that, and we'll be definitely working on that, starting with select statements, then select insert, then update, and so on. So yes, no timeline on that. Working with SQL is really tricky because you can use a lot of different statements, and but yes, you can also do it right now manually. I know we suggest all the objects in the that are used in the stored procedure, so you can do it manually, and in the future it will be automated.
That's the last open question we have. So Piotr, we'll pop over to the last slide, and usually we have a question come in through the end. So as we wrap up here, feel free to drop any last questions. So one thing to take away here is the contact us portion. So if there are any questions or needs, whether that is regarding upgrade or support, even just to ask questions, these are your best contacts over here on the left-hand side. And as for us, we appreciate you all joining in today and running through things. We're making a lot of advancements with the tool, and your feedback is always great. So if you do have any feedback, you can always reach out to us with that. We are typically trying to build our roadmap off the feedback that we get from you guys, so it's always very helpful. And I believe that is it from the question side. So Piotr, thank you for walking us through that, and we'll see you all here soon.
Thank you, my pleasure. Hope to see you.